Real estate is about freedom, choice freedom, time freedom, and money freedom, and the impact you can make with that freedom. But it doesn't come without cost. Your freedom takes work. That's why Neil Timmins brings together the tools you need to build your real estate legacy, from tips and tricks to interviews with industry titans. It's all here in one place. Real Grit. Let's get to it.
What if I told you can make 20 times the return of a single family fix and flip on your next big deal? Well, it's actually possible. It's possible inside the world of commercial real estate. Say, I'm inviting you to this free challenge. It starts August 15th. It's totally free. It's a 5-day challenge where I'm going to take you and deep dive into the world of commercial real estate, more specifically, capital multiplier properties, what that is, how we identify them. I'm going to show you how to identify them, how to evaluate them, and how to lock them up risk-free. I'm going to give you all the paperwork to do it. It's totally free. You can sign up to join us at www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. That's www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. And I'll see you in the challenge. Coming right up today, I've got Chris Craddock on the show. He's going to talk about his experience in ministry. That's where he started, stumbled into real estate, and what he does today. He runs a very large organization. He's quite the leader. Coming right up today, Chris Craddock. I've got Chris Craddock here with me today. I'm excited to chat with him. Chris, how are you?
I am awesome. How are you doing, my friend?
It's good, man. I'm doing terrific. I'm excited to catch up with you. Tell me this. We all got into real estate somehow, somewhere, some way. How'd you stumble into this business?
Well, the way I found it was I was on staff with an organization called Young Life right out of college. I loved Young Life. It was awesome, changed my life. But I was making $25,000 a year, and my wife got pregnant and was going to stay home with the kids. And I knew I had to do something to make ends meet, because you cannot live on $25,000 a year in the DC area. I don't think you can anywhere, but definitely not in the DC area. And so I went to the library and checked out every book on flipping houses. And within 4 months, I made 12 times what I made in a year, and allowed me to continue doing ministry. And through a long period of things that changed, I ended up getting back into flipping houses, and then built a retail, like an agent brokerage business. And then, I've got 13 different streams of income. So title, mortgage, hard money, all the other stuff around real estate.
Tell me, all right, so it was time to do something different. You went to the library, but what even prompted you to go talk or look or research about houses, about investing?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I just knew I had to do something. I loved what I was doing in ministry. I loved it. The interesting thing is my mom's side of the family, they were all bankers, and they were upper middle class, so fairly wealthy in the DC area. Because they all had real estate investments. And then my dad's side of the family was my grandfather was as blue collar as he gets, GED, road worker, making $3.25 an hour. And, he ended up dying a pretty wealthy person, because he just anytime he had any dollars at all to rub together, he bought real estate. So I was like, man, money's in real estate and I need to do it. So I just went to the investment section, and I was like, all right, I'm going to learn about real estate. So I got Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first book that I read. And when I read the first chapter of it I still remember I was standing there in the library. I read the first chapter and I was enthralled, and I was like, okay, this is it. Real estate is what I am doing. And so then I checked out every other book they had. And anybody that knows me knows, like, when I'm in, I'm all in, hyper focus. And so I just read all those books, and that was it.
What year was that? Roughly?
It was about 2003.
2003. All right. So let's do this. 2003, you're all in, you're knocking the ball off the cover. 2008 rolls around. What was your world look like? What were you into during the financial crisis?
Well, here's the crazy thing is, I made all that money, and my room I'm not ready. And so I ended up here in a hotel. So now I'm with everybody else. So yeah, bear with me, guys. So what happened was I just made all that money, and I just decided, like, I was going to continue doing ministry. So I backed out. I bought one rental property that I was like, hey, this is going to be my retirement. It's going to get paid off, and I'll just, use this as my retirement funds for, when I retire, maybe I'll buy one more house, and that's it. And so I actually was not in the business at that time. I was just doing ministry during that. So, and what happened to get me where I am now was when I got back in, it was about 2010. And I did what I did originally, which was just go knock on doors and call people that were going up for auction. And at that point, almost everybody was up for foreclosure.
Sure.
And so, so they were all up for foreclosure, but they were all underwater, which was different than 2003, where everybody had tons and tons of equity. Right. And so, so with that said, they started doing all the short sales, and I was like, okay, well, they're going to pay somebody. I might as well get a real estate license if they're paying people to do short sales. So that was the whole idea there. I got my real estate license, kept flipping houses. Somebody gave me Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. And so from there, I just, I started reading that, started building a team. And now we're at 42 agents. And I think we sold over 300 million. We're going to sell over $300 million in real estate this year.
Just incredible. Are you, the core focus is then on the agency? I know you've got multiple streams of income, but more so on the agency than investing direct?
Well, see, the way we really built our business was marrying the two, because I don't think many people actually marry the two.
I would agree.
What happens is all these people that will market direct to seller, right? Let's talk wholesalers or fix and flippers, right? If you get 65 cents on the dollar, it's a deal. If you don't get 65 cents on the dollar, it's not a deal. Well, if you get 20 people that raise their hand and say, I want to sell in the next 6 months, what's going to happen is 19 of them, well, probably 16 of them are going to say, hey, I want to sell, but I want retail value. And maybe if there's a discount, maybe 95 cents on the dollar. There's no room for a flip or there's no room for wholesale. Right. But what about all those people? Somebody is going to get paid on every single one of those deals. It's just not going to be you.
Correct.
And so what we did was I went to one of my good friends at the time. Now he's become one of my very close friends. But what I did was went to him. He's got one of the biggest wholesaling businesses in the country, and said to him at the time, I said to him, hey, what are you doing with your dead leads? And he's like, I've tried everything. I've tried brokerage. I've tried selling them. I've tried everything. It just doesn't work. And so anyway, I talked him into giving me a bunch of those old leads. We crushed it with those leads, and turns out he was just trying to get me to leave them alone, give me 5-year-old leads, and we crushed a bunch of them, sent them referral fees. And now, my retail team sends him anywhere between $50,000 and $65,000 a month in referral fees just from his dead leads that literally were sitting dead in the CRM, going nowhere. Some other agent or investor that was paying way too much was buying every single one of them.
Yeah, incredible. All right. So in the business today, I mean, is it fair to say then that you figured out how to capitalize on that source with other investors and make sure that you send them checks every month for really their dead leads? Things aren't even doing or working anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing. Everybody's like, oh, this is the thing that makes me laugh. So many investors will say, oh, there are no dead leads. We follow up with them forever until they sell. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But if there's no pain there, you may tell me about the one lead that you followed up with for 3 years and then you made a $75,000 deal on it. Well, let me tell you about the 500 listings that you could have gotten if you would have passed those off. And, even if you're not doing it, if you just created a partnership with somebody that understood how to close those deals, let me tell you about all of those commission checks that you could have gotten that will be way more than that one deal that you were chasing for 3 years.
When there's no pain, there's no urgency on the investor side. Shy of having an outlet to a brokerage, right? There's no check to cash, right?
Right.
If you can't buy deep enough, there's just no money for what you do.
Right. And see, so many people also will say, hey, I've tried it before, and they'll say, hey, do you want to talk to a realtor? Hey, do you want a flat fee listing? Hey, let me set you up with an agent, all the other stuff. And it doesn't work because every seller wants a cash offer, right?
Yes.
Like that's why they were talking there. If they wanted to talk to a realtor, their brother's uncle is a termite inspector that also has a real estate license, right?
That's right.
They don't need to talk to you. And so that's the whole thing where if you have a good scripting, you get that agent in front of people so that they can solve their pain, because maybe their pain's not big enough to sell for 65 cents on the dollar. But if they want to sell, there's some sort of pain because nobody wants to move. Nobody wants to go through the brain damage of moving unless there's some sort of pain. And in that pain could just be like, I don't like my house anymore. I want to get something bigger.
Correct.
Right? But that's pain.
Yeah. Enough pain to move, not enough pain to sell at a discount to an investor.
Boom. That's it.
Talk to me. To me, you've got I mean, you've got to be a leader inside your organization, but as many people as you have, as much as you have going on, talk to me about the non-negotiables for you as a leader, hiring people inside your business. What are your non-negotiables?
Yeah, I mean, non-negotiables is there's two things that are required to win in any business. It's activity and skill, right? And so the non-negotiable is you have to run hard, right? And so I coached high school sports for years and years and years, and I saw that the best teams that I ever coached were not necessarily the most talented, but the ones that decided that they were going to work really hard. Those were the teams that would win in the last 2 minutes over and over again. And then the ones that were talented that didn't have that work ethic were the ones that found a way to lose in the last 2 minutes over and over again. Yeah. And so we're looking for people that are competitive, not competitive like where they want to tear other people down, but competitive that where they want to be the best version of themselves. And then skill is people that know and understand that your life and business will grow to the extent that you grow. The second that you hit a glass ceiling, it's not somebody else's fault. You're not a victim, but you're somebody that says, you know what? If I want to grow, if I knew more, if I could think bigger, my business and my life would be better. So those are the two things that we're looking for, is people that take massive ownership of their own life. They're willing to work hard, and they're willing to do everything it takes to level up.
One little known or unknown habit or tool you possess or you implement that has attributed to your success.
Yeah. This was actually one of the areas our business actually doubled when my wife brought this up to me. So I do training. At the time I would do a training 3 times a week with the team. Now we're at 5 times a week. I only lead 2 of the 5 though. But my wife said to me one morning, she's like, Chris, I've never seen anybody. And I mean, she went to Oxford, so she like legitimately, has been around, a lot of people that are very ravenous learners. And she's like, I've never seen anybody that takes in and consumes as much information as you do. She's like, I know you teach your team, but does your team understand the price that you pay for like just always just learning and growing and just taking in information? And when I stopped just teaching and started helping the team understand, like, no, this is how I educate myself. This is what I learned. This is the price I pay every single day to be better than where I was yesterday. All of a sudden, my team started catching that as a culture instead of, the give a man a fish, teach a man a fish kind of thing. They started catching that as a culture. And then the whole team started talking about the books they were reading, what they're doing, the podcasts they're listening to, all that other stuff. And then that education and that personal development started just permeating everything that we were as an organization. And boom, our organization doubled that next year.
Incredible. What's your, you said you had 13 income streams. What's your favorite one?
Let's see. I love the construction business because, my brother runs it. My brother owns it, and it doesn't require any of my time. Yeah. So construction's awesome because, my retail team, it's people that need to fix houses or do additions or bathrooms or kitchens. And, our team just gives him leads and he closes them and I get a check.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Hey, thinking back to, 15, 18 years ago when you started, knowing what you now know, what would you have done differently?
So I always found mentors that were a couple steps ahead of me. I think I would have reached out to mentors that were like 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of me. One of the jokes that I make is one of my really good friends who I'm actually here in Scottsdale and I'm going to be with in this mastermind. But we were in the DC area together. And one of the things that he said, like his retail team was doing about, 200 transactions a year. And I would just go camp out in his office and just pick his brain all the time. And after about 2 years, we surpassed what they were doing. And he was like, man, this is crazy. He's like, I can't believe that you're doing this. And I was like, look, I'm kind of annoyed with you, man, because if you were doing 1,000 transactions a year, I'd be doing that many right now because I'm just like sitting here learning from you. So that was just that whole idea, is that if you can get around people that are going to change the way you think, the whole reason, like everything that you do, your actions, your thoughts, everything has perfectly designed you for the life you now live. And so if you want a bigger life, you've got to get around people that are going to change the way you think so that your whole life can be much bigger than it is today.
I absolutely love that. Somebody who's much further ahead, especially with the rate in which you consume information, and then I suspect implement based on your results.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's another thing. We just had a right after I got off the plane, my leadership team was having a meeting, and so I was on that just a few minutes ago, and one of the things that we were talking about was some of the folks on the team that are not having the success that they want. They're showing up to all the education meetings, but they're not implementing it, and they're treating education as a hobby instead of as a tool that's going to change their life.
To know and to not do is to not know.
Exactly.
Right.
That's great. That's great.
Listen, Life and Adventure, when you look at this year, 2023, and you look forward, where are you headed? What's it look like?
Well, the interesting thing is I'm looking at my personal assets right now, and I realize I've got a lot of single family rental properties in the DC area. I mean, they're valued pretty high, it'd be like the DC area, but still it's just a lot of individual ones. And I spent some time with some friends, and I'm looking at one right now where I can sell two of these rental properties and 1031 it into these two properties are worth about $650 each, right? So I sell those, I keep the equity, 1031 that into, there's a $3.5 million apartment complex with, it's only 4 units in the middle of DC that brings in, $22,000 a month. And I'm like, this is the equivalent of taking all the little greenhouses and turning it into one big red house, And so yes. That's what I'm looking at personally as I'm looking to level up.
No, that's tremendous. What's this? I want to move on to the final segment, what I call 4-4 impact. Your favorite quote, just do it. Art Williams said it. What about that resonates most with you?
Oh man, if you've never watched this, there's a YouTube video. It's 18 minutes. It's the cheesiest video ever from the 1980s. A guy named Art Williams, just do it. It was one of the hardest times in my life where I had made a number of investments that all came they were all coming crashing down. They were good investments, but one of the things I learned was I was doing too much at one time, and they were all just coming down. And I still remember when I was talking to my wife, I was like, we just gotta, we got to get through this, and it was just rough. And somebody sent me this video. I watched it. I showed my wife that video. And then I just got up and I was like, you know what? I've got to get out of this. I got to run hard. And honestly, that pain of that time was what helped propel me into building the team that we built. Because I mean, when your back's against the wall, you can either sink or swim. And, if you're going to swim, man, you got to paddle harder than you've ever paddled in your life. And so it created what we have now. And I think about it like childbirth, right? Like when my wife was pregnant, she was in a lot of pain, but then, able to give birth to something that created awesomeness.
Yeah. What do you think holds most investors back from hitting their personal next level?
Most investors dream without action. Most investors, I just spoke to somebody the other day that she's a real estate agent that did just a handful of deals. I don't want to say too much because I want to give it away, but she only did a handful of deals last year. And now she's saying, I want to get into wholesaling and fix and flipping because I think I can make more money. And my whole thing was like, hey, look, if you're not making money in the agent business, it's because you're not working hard enough. And so if you think that you're going to go into another line of work and not work hard at all and get in there, it's just not going to work at all for you. You're going to have the same results. So it's activity and skill. Without the activity, there's no skill. But see, the whole thing is once you do enough and then you build out you understand the role, then you can build it out. Then you can hire people to take that and really build that out. But you can't just start, like if it was easy, everybody would do it. You can't just start at making $1 million a year. You've got to earn that right.
I like what you just said. Without the activity, there is no skill. You've got to go put forth effort and learn as you go and learn by taking action.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the biggest thing. I've seen it over and over and over again. A lot of investors, they just say, oh man, I'm just not hitting my groove. I'm not hitting my stride. And then you realize, well, you're not hitting your stride because like how many people are you talking to, right? Like you're just not talking to anybody. Like go talk to people, get on the phone, smile and dial, knock on doors, drive for dollars, do whatever you got to do. But do something where you're talking to somewhere between, 10 and 200 people every day.
Yep. Outside of real estate, what are you most passionate about?
So I'm really active in my church. I run the men's ministry in our church. I I've got 6 kids. So, just family and church. And I love sports, man. I'll tell you, I love running. I love just getting out and working out. So yeah, it's great.
What's your favorite way to make an impact in the community?
I just love, I love mentoring, everywhere I've been, right? Like I did youth ministry with Young Life. I was a pastor at the church. I coached high school soccer. I coached high school golf. Now I lead the people on my team. And, heck, I mean, I'll just tell you, this is one of the things that just makes me super, super excited was, one of the guys, he's a real estate agent on my team that he retired from ministry. He was making about $50,000 a year and he retired. And, he came to our planning session last year and he stood up and he was just like, "Hey guys, can I say something?" He like broke down in tears. And he was just like, I never thought I was going to have any money, but I joined the team and all we do, we talk, invest, no matter what it is, whether it's wholesaling, fix and flipping, or getting a commission, that's all just the hamster wheel of trading time for dollars. But you're always talking about building wealth. And he's like, I've traded my time for dollars and I turned that money into properties. And he's like, I just became a millionaire this year. He's like, I never thought I'd be a millionaire because I just didn't make any money. And he's like, now I'm a millionaire and I just can't even believe that this is the life I get to live.
So cool. That's great. For people who want to find you, they want to follow you, they want to connect with you, where can they go? What should they do?
I'm on all the social media channels, Chris Craddock Official, TikTok, Crad Rock, Craddrock, cheesy high school nickname. I need to change that name on Instagram, Chris Craddock. And if you are an agent and investor, I've got a Facebook group, Uncommon Real Estate. And obviously the average podcast listener listens to 7 podcasts. So keep listening here, but I'd love to be one of your other 7. So I've got Uncommon Real Estate is the podcast that I have as well. And then that's mainly geared for the agent investor. And if you're just an investor, I'll tell you what, you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you don't marry those two together.
There you go. Well, check those things out. Everything Chris just mentioned is going to be below in the show notes, including his podcasts. So you want to make sure we check those out. Chris, I appreciate you taking the time to connect up here. This is a great conversation. It's a fun story about how you came out of ministry and then just got into real estate from really, family exposure. But that only gets you so far. You had to take massive action to get to the level in which you play at today. So my hat's off to you. You're doing incredible things. I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Well, thank you, brother. This has been so fun.
Yeah, you bet. Well, hey, for everybody here at Real Grit, I'm Neil Timmins, reminding you that real estate requires real grit. See you next time. What if I told you can make 20 times the return of a single family fix and flip on your next big deal? Well, it's actually possible. It's possible inside the world of commercial real estate. Say, I'm inviting you to this free challenge. It starts August 15th. It's totally free. It's a 5-day challenge where I'm going to take you and deep dive into the world of commercial real estate, more specifically, capital multiplier properties, what that is, how we identify them. I'm going to show you how to identify them, how to evaluate them, and how to lock them up risk-free. I'm going to give you all the paperwork to do it. It's totally free. You can sign up to join us at www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. That's www.20xprofitchallenge.com/real grit. And I'll see you in the challenge. If you like our content and want more, you can access it at realgritpodcast.com. You hear it guest after guest. Instinctively, you already know it. But let me call it out. The most expensive action is inaction. The real estate market is full of opportunities. You just need to uncover them. You can build a business that lasts for years, makes monumental impact in the lives of those that you love. It's not just about business, but about the freedom you get because of it. Have you ever heard the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I believe that partnering is essential. In fact, I partner with hardworking investors all the time. The point is that you can get a lot further with the right partner. Let me say it again, the right partner. If you've ever thought about partnering with anyone, or if you have a partner now, I encourage you to download my free Partner and Profit Guide, which includes the top 5 must-answer questions to evaluate a profitable partnership. You can find it at www.legacyimpactpartners.com. I'll see you in the next episode.